I became obsessed with being the baddest motherfucker that God ever created.
The way that I show up is by being consistent, so consistent that people cannot doubt your capacity to succeed.
You kept going, you pushed through, you kept your head held high.
Don't half-ass it. Don't half-ass it.
I just know when people go all in on the thing they love, magical things start to happen.
I have to jump higher. I have to show up earlier.
You thought you were empty, but you got a half tank left. And that's all you need to get where you're going. You can fill up later. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
People complain about their situation and do nothing about it.
Like, do you know where I'm gonna end up? Right. The tippy f***ing top.
And the only thing that we had in common when it was all done was we didn't quit.
I do think you have to have some level of dream that's bigger than your fear. There's a lot more smarter people out there than they give themselves credit for.
Learn to do the little things right, and you'll learn to do the big things right.
In order to get things we've never had, we need to do things we've never done.
Because if you're not willing to go in there and face yourself, you're not gonna find anything.
If you can see it in your head, you can hold it in your hands. But the question I want to ask you is, are you committed?
Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood.
It's the moments in life, the decisions you make on a moment-to-moment basis that add up to be the guy or not the guy. Tonight, I did something, that I feel more of a guy. For me, who I am, my guy.
Make the hard decisions, make the sacrifices, make the unpopular decisions, and become comfortable in your own skin. And if you are not a person that you are comfortable being alone with, that is the one person in this universe that you have full power, full right, and full responsibility to change.
If you had to create a human, what would you put them through to make them tough? It probably wouldn't be a really chill life. What would you put them through to make them patient? You probably wouldn't give them things immediately. And so it's like we want these traits, but each of the traits has a price tag attached to it. And it's just like, do you want to pay the price tag to get the thing? And so I think if people reframed the period of life that they're going through as the price that they're paying out of their wallet, but the wallet is their time, is the seconds of life that they're trading for it, then I think more people would be willing to make the trade. Because at least when I look at myself, like when I'm 80 something years old and I'm looking back on my life, I want to have these traits. But in order to have those traits, I know I have to go through these things. And I think for me, that's given me a lot of comfort in hard times.
Right now in life, your family's looking for that one guy right now. They're looking for that one guy who's strong, who's that pillar for the family in hard times. Make sure they look around and find you. These are the times right now for you to step up. Be that guy that can take anything. Stay hard.
The next time you want to just give in to that desire for comfort, remember that your future self is going to be the one to suffer the consequences. It's so easy to just put it off and act like it doesn't exist. But that future self that you're passing all these burdens to will one day be yourself of the present, and you'll wish you chose to do otherwise.
Everything that you do counts. The biggest mistake that people make is they think that only what they want to counts. No. When you read a book, when you listen to an audio program, when you go to a course, when you go to bed early and get up early and you work, it all counts.
Never fucking apologize for being yourself. If people don't like how you act, how you look, how you speak, that just means those aren't your fucking people. Don't change who you are to match your surroundings. Pick better fucking surroundings and be yourself.
Yeah, I don't know, most men would understand that when a man cries and he's whimpering, he's hurting. Because I've been there. And there's no shame in crying, gentlemen, men. It's okay to cry. We can still be a man, but you're also human. And it does show a little bit of your vulnerability.
Do it for your loved ones. Do it for your wife. Do it for your husband. Do it for your children. Do it for generations to come. Come on, after you're dead and gone, what will they say about what you did? Yes, there's so many people depending on you, but it's got to start with you and the man upstairs.
If you want to be great, oh man, prepare to get up off that mat. You're going to get knocked down over and over and over. And even when you feel like, I can't be hit this hard. Or if you're down there thinking, there's no way I can get up from this. That's when you're just starting.
For some strange reason, this world wants to see you water down the reality of who you are. Our society wants to see you think like everyone else and feel just like those around you. Maybe for somebody who's so distracted from their true desires as a person, that doesn't sound so bad. But the pain of seeing through limitation in full absence of distractions is almost unbearable. You see, it hurts because the resistance wants you to give in and mold to what's expected of you. And if I can provide some advice, don't.
I don't know where you are in your game of life. You may be in your third quarter. You may be in your fourth quarter. Come on, you're not gonna live forever, not in this world, come on. You may be in your first quarter, your second half, and this time it's gotta be personal. See, last time you were just running through the plays. Last time you were just running the songs that you rehearsed in rehearsal. Last time you were just going through the motions and you got numb, come on, and you got tired and weary, and now you're broken and bitter and angry because you lost. And I'm just wondering if you're courageous enough, bold enough, if you have enough faith, come on, if you have enough inside of you, resilience to come back to the scene.
This life is relentless. You better keep coming back from all your failures, all your doubts, all your shit. You better keep fighting, keep getting up. Never fucking lay down for shit. That's one thing we should all agree on. If you've been broken once, you know how that shit feels. That means, fuck it, try and break me again.
Well, I think working class guys, the whole bloody world rests on their shoulders. It really matters if they do a good job. And so a lot of working class guys come to my shows and they say, look, I've been listening to your lectures while I'm doing long haul trucking or while I'm working in my forklift, whatever. I think, great, man, get the hell at it. Do your job properly.
Do it.
You bet, and do it right. Support your family, man the hell up, live a responsible life, and what you're doing is valuable. I don't care what anyone else has to say about it.
You got a lot of people paying their hard-earned money to come watch you perform. It's your job to be in shape. It's your job to be strong enough to perform at that level every single night. And as a competitor, I'm not ducking. Like, it's not, oh my God, my back hurts, I'm sore, we gotta play Vince Carter and Toronto Raptors tonight.
Pick your mountain, whatever that mountain is, and each journey up the mountain is a million steps, and each day you have to take that step.
Yeah.
Each day you take that step, you look up at the mountain, you say, yeah, that's where I wanna go. And then each next day you take your step over and over and over again.
Let yourself go, fall free into it, step into it. You are worthy. You are an unrepeatable miracle, and there is none like you in all the earth. There will never be another you. Your DNA, your fingerprint, come on, your gait, your presence, your authenticity. Come on, you're special and you're necessary.
Everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
I'm realizing that I have to daily show up for myself if I want my life to be what I want it to be.
Right.
It is a battle. And not only that, but it's like you have to have some sort of a plan. When I used to be a little bit more aimless, I was just like, oh, I want things to be good. It wasn't enough.
The amount of suffering that you understand, the amount of pain that you've gone through makes you appreciate the happiness and the beautiful moments with much more intensity.
This whole thing about suffering, yeah, it sucks. Really bad. Really, really bad. But we all live on this side of suffering. On this side. This nice box that's very comfortable, that we know when everything's gonna happen. We're in it, it's good. We know how everything's gonna turn out. It's those few people who are willing to go on this side of suffering. And once they get through that, ask him how he feels now. His mind, how far he grew. In that short period of time, he grew so much more than the normal person because he was willing to go outside himself. Because on the other end of suffering is greatness.
We're built to walk uphill. And when you reach the pinnacle of the hill, you want to stop and appreciate the vision, but the next thing you want is a higher hill in the distance, because it's the uphill climb that it's from the uphill climb that we derive our value, and I mean this technically. So almost all the positive emotion we feel, that's experienced in relationship to a goal. And so in some sense, you want a goal that you can never attain, right? So you can always move closer to the goal that recedes as you move towards it. You think, well, that's frustrating. It's like Sisyphus pushing the rock uphill. But it's not, because as you pursue that goal, you put yourself together and your life does get better and richer and more abundant. You want them to be above everything you're doing so you can continually move towards something that's more sublime and better. That's what you are. You're here to live, not to sleep.
Because you wouldn't have prayed like you pray had you not been hurt. You wouldn't love like you love had you not been hurt, because you know what it's like to hate somebody. So you refuse to go down that path.
Feelings has nothing to do with it. This is my dream. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do the things that I don't feel like doing. I'm going to do the things I don't want to do. I'm going to do the things that don't come easy to me, that do not come natural to me. I'm going to get up and do it. You can't live your life on feelings. You cannot let your feelings dictate what you are or are not going to do today.
You don't get that fire inside to make it happen out there until you go to the fire in here.
Leaving it all here, expecting it all out there. That's how it works. When you leave it all here, guys, you then have the right to expect it all out there. It doesn't work the other way around. You can't half-ass it here and expect anything but a half-ass life out there.
You know, it doesn't get easy, my friend. Running 12 plus miles a day, doing 800 plus push-ups a day, lifting weights every single day, working 2 jobs, working out of my comfort zone at the club. But it's worth it. Because if you think it's about fitness, you're wrong. If you think it's about the money, you're wrong. Because it all goes back to one important point, my friend. I'm in it for the mentality to keep going, no matter what happens.
Nothing should be easy. If it's easy, it's not going to be worth doing. So many people love to have the opportunity to find the easy way out and celebrate something that they never really worked hard to get. It gives you an opportunity to appreciate the challenges more, the letdowns, the failures. It gives you more ammunition, so when you do eventually get to where you want to be, just in case that moment comes and you get knocked back down, you understand what it feels like, and you know you're not going to stay down for very long because you know what that ground feels like.
This life is relentless. You better keep coming back from all your failures, all your doubts, all your shit. You better keep fighting, keep getting up. Never lay down for shit. That's one thing we should all agree on. If you've been broken once, you know how that feels. That means try and break me again. One thing in life, suffering has no expiration date. It don't give a if you're black, white, poor, rich, where you come from, how you were raised. It will keep coming after you. Stay hard.
It hurts when we're lifting these weights and we're trying to accomplish a goal. It hurts. It's painful. It's daunting. It's cumbersome. I don't want to do it. I'm sweating. I'm bleeding. I'm crying. I'm suffering. But after I've suffered, there is a reward. So we spend too much time thinking about how bad it hurts instead of how good the future will be after the pain. And so after the blood, after the sweat, after the tears, after I've cried all I'm gonna cry, I want to use the pain to my advantage.
At what age should you have everything together? For us normal people, it takes time. Because not only do you have to mature and grow, there's things in life that if you have a big enough dream, you're not the person you need to be right now to fulfill that dream. Now you keep moving towards it. You keep doing what needs to be done. But at the same time, you realize that you yourself are gaining in knowledge and in experience and in personal growth.
Do you still struggle with all of the shit you talk about?
Oh my God.
Like,
yes. That's why I'm so fucking relatable. I do not have this stuff figured out. I am shoulder to shoulder with everybody.
They look and see, and then are quick to adjudge your ability. But they weren't there. They weren't there through the struggle. They weren't there through the sleepless nights. They weren't there through the pain. They weren't there through the trauma. They weren't there through the tears. They weren't there to pick you up. You did that. So what gives them the right? What gives them the right to judge you? They don't know your ability, my friend. They don't know what you're capable of. They don't know what you can do. So you find a way to push through. You find a way to keep going because nobody can tell you anything when you're the one who dragged yourself out the dark. When you're the one who dragged yourself back into the light, my friend. They have no business in your business. So you keep going.
We all gonna go through it. We all have to go through it, including myself. I'm gonna tell you something. When you are doing everything in your power to be the best makeup of yourself, it's always gonna be an adversary that's gonna try to take that away from you. Now, the best way you can overcome this is having the faith. Now, it doesn't matter what you believe in as long as it's something that's positive that's gonna get you through it.
Imagine if you could use pain as a fuel. Imagine if you could use the pain as a passport. Imagine if you could use the pain to push you, to condition you, to prepare you for the stages and the rooms you gotta walk into and the tables you gotta sit at and the stages you have to stand on. What if the pain could make you better? What if the pain could build muscle? What if the pain could cause you to reach higher, to leap farther, to run faster? What if the pain could help you? What if all pain isn't hurt, but it's help?
I'm sick right now, my friends. That can't stop the grind. In a world where everybody is so comfortable and lazy, why don't you be the one to get uncomfortable? Why don't you be the one to take on the challenge? Why don't you be the one to never give up? Why don't you be the one to never stop? Why don't you be the one to never give in?
If you just try to be pampered, and if you're trying to be soft, and if you're trying to be the victim and all stuff, you're not going to go anywhere. We need to get stronger.
The thing about transformation is you have to do it. You've got to put in the work when nobody cares. You know, nobody cared if I practiced. Nobody cared if I worked out. If you want to transform, you have to do the work if nobody cares. There's only one person who has to care, and that's you.
What's the least amount of sleep you play the game on?
0 sleep. It's like, kids, Natalia had a certain, health situation or what have you, and you're staying up all night, and then you got to go out and perform because fans don't know, teammates don't know, nor do they care, nor should they, that you've been up all night. You got to perform, right? And so you just got to go to work, man. It's respect. That's respect.
So why? You just sit back and you wait for somebody to pat you on the shoulder and say it's okay? At least you gave it your best. Your best ain't good enough. Your best don't work. You need to go beyond your best. You need to go beyond the level. You need to let the world know that you exist. You need to let the world know that you made different. You're built different. You're stronger. You're more passionate. You believe in yourself. When the rest of the world shut you down, you woke up the next day and you said, I got this.
this. I do this. I breathe this. I am this. You can't stop me for who I am, what I am, who I am, and what I stand for. You don't belong in this world. You don't belong in my world of life. You don't belong in my world of person. You don't belong in my world of passion. You don't belong in my world of strength. You know why? Because you ain't strong enough. You're not willing enough. You're not passionate enough. And you know why I'm so passionate? Because the rest of the world don't understand my passion. The other world don't want my passion. They think my passion is too much. I'm going to give you a little bit more. You know why? Because passion is what makes me who I am today.
I think you're stronger than that. And I think you're capable of much, much more. So bring it out. Bring it out every single day that you live on this earth. Bring it out every single day that you open your eyes. Bring it out every single day. Bring out the best version of yourself, my friend, because we still have work to do.
See the pain as an opportunity. You gave me an opportunity to reinvent myself. You gave me an opportunity to come out of my grave that you put me in. You left me for dead. I'm coming out alive. I'm coming out kicking. I'm coming out swinging. You left me and thought I wouldn't overcome. You forgot about me. You let go and thought I couldn't survive it. But I'm here.
Come on, get it, 17. You don't know me, son. Get it, 18. You don't know me, son. Get it, 19. You don't know me, son. Yeah, 20, you got some more in you. 21, yeah, get it again. Come on, we want to see it.
You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
Nobody cares about you is something that was never made clear to me. And I mean that in the most positive, optimistic, inspiring, motivating way. Like, I think that, especially if you see yourself as a creative or you want to exist on YouTube or as a filmmaker, or as a musician, or as an artist, or a painter, or any of those things, like, you think that everybody's paying attention. And because of that, it kind of controls how you think. And even when I was young and fearless and nothing to lose, I was still so cognizant of, like, how are people going to react to this and what's the best way to do, like, I was so aware. And the reality is nobody gives a shit. Everybody is so focused on themselves in this world. Nobody has time for you. And the sooner you accept that as a creative person, the sooner you're free. Like, you're totally free. Like, do exactly what feels right to you.
Wake up! Stop sleeping on yourself. Step into your authenticity. Step into your intelligence and your brilliance. Release your gift. God has given you something great. Release it.
Work! 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 Work, damn it! Work! 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 Work!
There's a price tag to success. You don't just get it overnight. You got to earn it the right way. And you got to have a little bit of patience. But it takes time. And sometimes that patience runs out. You don't feel like you got it anymore. You don't feel like you're worthy of it. You don't feel like you want to be here. You think what I'm saying right now doesn't even matter? I owe me.
So many people get upset with me when I talk about nobody cares about your feelings. There's injustice, but there's injustice for everybody. For some people, it's worked because I've pushed to them that nobody cares. Nobody cares about your problems because they have their own problems. And that's worked for some people. Like, literally, some people have emailed me and they're like, my life has changed because you pounded to me that nobody gives a fuck, nobody cares. So I was like, fuck, if that's true, the hell am I complaining for? And all of a sudden I stopped complaining and all of a sudden good shit started happening. So that works. The other thing that I think works the most, I think people have to drop people in their lives.
You need to work harder. You have to suffer a little bit. You have to put yourself in a state of discomfort. Growth shouldn't be easy. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop looking to make things a breeze. You've got to learn to suffer. You've got to put yourself in a bit of an uncomfortable position. And if you can do that, then the results that have eluded you, you'll start to see them.
This is where people win or lose. Folks, can you tell me what your hardest working day of the year was?
Scream out the amount of hours you worked on the hardest working day. Say it on 3. Hang on, get that number in your head. Your hardest working day of the year. You ready? On 3, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. Your hardest working day. You ready? Nobody cares about your hardest working day. What helps you win is your bottom 100 worst working days. Don't brag about the day you work so hard. I care about your bottom 100. That's where you lose, and that's where you win.
I know this is something you've never done before, and I know that you're fractured, and I know that it's cold, and I know that you're broken, and I know that you're weary, and I know that you're tired, and I know that you're confused. But on the other side of the cold, on the other side of the suffering, on the other side of the crawling, and the walking, and the crushing, there is purpose, there is destiny on the other side. But are you courageous enough to step into uncharted territory, to disappear for 30 days? I know it's cold, but are you courageous enough to step away? Do you have the faith enough? Are you daring enough? Are you bold enough? Are you radical enough in your hunger and your thirst to go after what it is that you believe is yours? Are you crazy enough?
Goodbye negativity, goodbye gossip, and drama, and those people hurting me. This is my life. So today, you start ready to change the world. Your gifts, your inventions, your passions, ready for a new beginning.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, man. In order for something to change, there needs to be change.
They'd say, well, I'm afraid to make a change, and I'd say, well, that's okay. That's understandable. How afraid are you of not making a change? Let's make a little vision of that. You're 35, you hate your job. What's the consequence? You're not motivated, you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, you're starting to get depressed, you're getting bitter, you're getting resentful, you're getting cynical, you're amotivated at work, you're not doing a very good job, and you're starting to shrink. Now play that out for 10 years. You don't change it, you don't fix it. And what happens? You're going to be in the same situation, but 10 years older. And if you can't get out of that situation now, what the hell makes you think you're going to get out of it in 10 years?
You're only seeing what's in front of you. You're not seeing what's above you.
I can't change the beginning, but could I change the middle? Can I edit that story, rewrite that story, and change my entire life?
Everybody's so crippled by decisions, but you never know how the other thing worked out. Let me give you an example. Let's say you don't go to college and you start this business and you were 100% right and it's huge and you're doing so great, but because you did that, you had to fly to America for a big meeting and your plane crashed and you died. That would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Or you think you're gonna go to college because it's a good experience and you'll meet people. You can meet people in a business. You're not gonna know. I think people overthink decisions. You'll never know what the alternative would have been. So just pick one and do it.
Change is inevitable, and you are either changing for the worse or changing for the better. You decide.
I hope I do not believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Now listen to me, guys. The transition's going to be hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. Go from being on the block, going to be a high school dropout, to getting a GED, the transition is not easy. So what happens? In order for you to go from one level to the next level, in order for any man to transit, listen to me, in order for any woman to transition, for any man to transition, the thing that they want must be greater than the thing they currently have. Listen to me very closely. I didn't come in here to tell you you're gonna finish school. I came to ask you what's next. I came to ask you what's next. For me, it's the Nobel Prize.
I always think about other people that's going through a tougher life than I am. What if I had to change places? Would I trade places? You know, there's something I would always say to people from time to time. If I could take out a piece of paper and write down my problems, and you could take out a piece of paper and write down your problems, and we exchange those papers, And I'm thinking I got such a tough life. And you may have a tough life. But I pick up your paper, the one you may have written on. And I'm looking like, wow, I thought I had it bad. And then the other person say, hey, you got it a lot better than I do. You know what I would do? I would say, give me my paper back. I'll take my problems back. The point that I'm saying is this. I didn't put myself in such a pity party position to where I felt, why me? Why not me? Why shouldn't I go through this? See, you have to know, and I believe this even more, there can never be anything good unless there's some bad along the way. There has to be a challenge. There has to be a struggle. There has to be some setbacks. You cannot think in your mind that that's all you're good for is the good things. How good are you when you're at your weakest point in your life? Where are you when you're at the down low of your life? Then what do?
You are either going to evolve or expire. See, everything changes. The economy changes, relationships changes. We change mentally and emotionally and physically, and you are either dying or you are either living.
How am I a different person than I was this morning when I woke up? The initial reaction would be, I'm not. It's only been like 12 hours. How could I be different? But if I really think about it, what do I now know that I didn't know before? What experiences have I had that my prior self hadn't had when I had just woken up? And if I actually think about it, just like gratitude, I'm creating the frame of my past. I actually can and do see that I am different than my past self, even 12, 13 hours ago, or the night before. And by appreciating that, I now acknowledge that I've changed, which increases my psychological flexibility. It allows me to see that I am not the same person, that I am growing, that I am evolving, which is really useful for then thinking of your future self as a different person.
You don't know. Like there's no time machine, there's no future machine. We're all over analyzing everything. Like, how do you know? You don't. Like, this is why I keep trying to push people. The only thing that I know seems practical is, are you happy? Are you happy today? Feels like it's the right thing. Are you like, this is important. It's you can't analyze. Like, I didn't know that starting a YouTube show for my wine business was going to be the reason that I was going to have a huge investing career. I couldn't see that.
This 30 seconds is your life passing you by, an opportunity to change. It's your prerogative. You want to go down the path you have right now of your life and where it's going. Or do you see an alternate path that's not flatline, but climbing up an echelon of remembrance, a possibility where dreams exist, legacy exists, the possibility of change. So within the grasp of these hands, within the grasp of 30 seconds, it's within you. You had the will. You're here. I know you had the will. You have the intestinal fortitude. You have the want to change.
You only live once, so do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail.
How do you know true strength when you never tasted your weakness? When you never was down on your luck? When you were at the bottom? I had to ask myself that. And I realized, you gotta go through this hell, man. This is it. Because as long as you're living, you gotta keep moving.
It all starts with a thought. But changing your thoughts is easy, it's free, can be instant. What's the point of making it complicated? How does that help anyone who says, well, I'm messed up and so hard to change and people can't change? It's like, well, that's not correct. Who taught you that? From the minute you're born, you're changing. Oh, it's long and arduous to recover. No, it isn't. Some people recover like that. Some people don't, but you could be one of the ones that changes your thoughts, changes your feelings, changes your actions after all.
When do you experience the positive emotion that's associated with happiness? The answer is, not when you've attained a goal, but when you're pursuing one.
Don't you realize excuses will kill you? It will destroy your well-being. And the more excuses you make, the less effort you're gonna give.
There's a million things I've done wrong. It's because I didn't do something that would have sent me somewhere else, but I have no idea. You don't know. You don't.
If you do not apply what you hear and it goes over your head, you will miss your moment.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, man.
Why are you so antisocial? Because I'm trying to get it.
I don't want to live in a hole anymore, and I'm going to do something about it.
I became obsessed with being the baddest motherfucker that God ever created.
I got my MTV out.
Savage! I'm a savage! Oh!
I'm not gonna stay fucking lying down. I'm not. I can't do it, man.
You kept going. You pushed through. You kept your head held high. Why was you working so hard? Because you were trying to get it.
How big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail? The only thing stopping us is ourselves.
Come on. Get it. 17. You don't know me, son. Get it. 18. You don't know me, son. Get it. 19. You don't know me, son. Yeah.
That's not all you got. You thought you were empty, but you got a half tank left. And that's all you need to get where you're going. You can fill up later. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Sometimes you got to sit with the pain until the pain passes. Sometimes pain will immobilize you, but as long as you can feel it, you can push it. Without pain, without sacrifice, we have nothing. Without pain, without sacrifice, we have nothing.
I'm not saying you shouldn't have goals, but you should be grinding for grinding's sake. You know, you should grind because that's what you do. You're passionate about what you do, you know, and so you're waking up every day with this concept of, I have 24 hours and they're mine. This 24 hours belongs to me. Right. And whatever I do in this 24 hours will determine where I'll be tomorrow and the next day. And I think that's what people need to focus on.
Give me all that work. Give me all that work, my friend, because I need it. I need it to make me stronger. I need it to make me powerful. I need it to make me better, my friend. So give me all that work. Give me all that work, my friend.
And he texted me. He's like, well, Cole, what that means is that your grandparents, from living in a stone house with stone walls and a dirt floor, and then us going into the construction industry, barely making it by just so we could do 50% better than our parents, to you now living in $1 million home, impacting thousands and thousands of lives, earning 7 figures. You've taken our name from sleeping on the dirt to $1 million mansions in the course of 3 generations, and our ancestors would be proud of you. Like, that is why I work so hard. Like that, I literally got goosebumps right now. Like, that is why I fucking grind. I'm not about this complaining bullshit. People complain about their situation and then do nothing about it, and it makes no fucking sense to me.
Please, don't give up. Remember, this is the grind. Find a way to push through the suffering and discomfort. And I promise you, there is something great waiting for you on the other side. Just keep grinding. Don't give up. This is not the time.
You don't live it like I do.
Yeah.
Like I lived it and I'm still living it. Like, do you know where I'm gonna end up?
Right.
The tippy fucking top. You know where I'm now? Upper middle. So I'm patient, I'm grinding, I'm here, I'm hustling down there, I'm fucking hustling, patient for where mine, final stop is gonna be. You're just not patient. Like, if you're feeling any angst, it's because you don't love the process more than the results. You're thinking about $10,000 a month in AdSense instead of loving the fucking dirt and loving this grind moment. And the second you fall in love with the grind, for real, 19 years of it, not a month. When you fucking really fall in love with the grind and sit here, and then your talent is gonna take you where it's gonna take you.
Listen. Can't nobody grind harder than his sister. If you grind equal with me, let's do it. But like Will Smith said when he was being interviewed once, you know what I'm talking about.
I'm about to die on the treadmill.
I'm gonna die on the treadmill. I'm gonna die on the treadmill. So I had no wonder. There's no more time anybody can give. I was opening the doors and shutting the doors. I would turn the light on in the morning. I would turn it out at night. I promise you, it wasn't that. It was, I know that I can touch more of me for me not for anybody else. I had no guilt if I left this planet and I had only done what I did. Only I'm cool. I played full out for you, but I didn't play full out.
When you are committed, you give everything you have. Every single week, every single day, every single hour, every single minute, 720 hours a month, you are beating on your craft. Even when you're at work, you're dreaming, you're thinking, you're vision casting, you're writing it down, making it plain, communicating to your destiny connections so that it can become a reality. If you can see it in your head, you can hold it in your hands. But the question I want to ask you is, are you committed?
My truth and my experience has been, I have to jump higher. I have to show up earlier. I have to be the first person to turn off the light and the last person to turn off the light. I have to make sure that every number is correct and every T is crossed and every die is dotted. The way that I show up is by being consistent, so consistent that people cannot doubt your capacity to succeed. You have to work harder than the average person. And if you accept those terms, you cannot complain about those terms. I have only known success on the back of consistency. Do I think you could be a success without being consistent? Perhaps, if you have other resources and tools that I was never given. But coming from where I am, my perspective has only been consistency, and the discipline has been everything that I have ever gotten on the back of doing it again and again and again. It is what I teach, it is what I preach, it is what I believe.
You've got to want to grind. You've got to learn to love that. You've got to learn to love to put in the work, to be proud of yourself that you showed up and put in the work, to be proud of yourself that you taught yourself how to suffer, to be proud of yourself that you're developing a mindset where you believe I can do anything I set my mind to. And by the way, once you believe that you can do anything you set your mind to without limitation, how you spend your time becomes a spiritual consideration. Know more about what you're doing than anyone else in the world, and grind, baby, grind.
It's time to wake up. Stop making excuses. Stop justifying your laziness. Stop choosing mediocrity. Wake up! Be better than who you used to be. Be better than who you are right now. Everybody else puts off everything until tomorrow, but not you. You are going to choose to be better today. You are going to push through the struggles and hardships that come up this year. You are going to grind until you are exhausted, until you feel like you have nothing more, and then grind harder.
When you get to where you want to go in life, when you finally get there, you finally reach that point, and you're there, and you're happy as hell. Realize this, you're not there yet. When you get that feeling that you arrived, be afraid.
Right.
Be truly afraid, because now you start to do this. Slowly die.
Wealth is mindset before it hits your bank account. When it comes to the differences between the rich and the poor, it doesn't start with how much money you make. It doesn't start with what degree you have. It doesn't start with who your parents are. It doesn't start with what background you have. It starts with what mindset you have. And this is really the root of wealth. It's your mindset.
You've never thought about being a billionaire. You can't become a billionaire unless you think about it. Find a mentor that has been where you want to be and shoot for the moon.
Entrepreneurs have a greater capacity for uncertainty. They stay up late, they work longer, they are more focused. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to need to lead.
How far can your eyes see? Some people's eyes see welfare. Some people's eyes see WIC and food stamps. But some people's eyes see 100,000. Some people's eyes see 1 million. Some people's eyes see 1 billion. Can I ask you a question? What do your eyes see? What is your vision?
I do think you have to have some level of dream that's bigger than your fear. There's a lot more smarter people out there than they give themselves credit for. The only difference is that I start. How do you get a part of it today, right now?
You've got to be thinking, what's going to progress me towards my goal? It makes me go, hey, I'm not Elon Musk smart, so I'm going to have to work harder, work differently, surround myself with intelligent people. You must work hard in pursuit of a set of skills that allows you to serve not only yourself, but other people.
An entrepreneur's drug is self-discipline, an obsession with progress and evolution. A disruptive entrepreneur is addicted to success. They are addicted to performing under pressure. They are addicted to results.
Make yourself rich before you make everybody else rich. I don't want you to never have the nice things. I want you to have the nice car. I want you to go on the nice vacations. I want you to have the nice home, but I want you to be able to afford it first. And right now, the most important thing financially is to make yourself rich first. And ironically, the people that are looking rich are sacrificing their real richness.
What would you say is the worst advice you see or hear being dispensed in the world?
It's easy to get rich, and it's not easy. It's ball busting. It takes a lot of human sacrifice, but you've got to really want it. I mean, you have to want it more than the air that you breathe.
What are you doing on your phone all day? There's probably something within there that's $1 billion opportunity. The crazy part about business, you only need one hit. That's it. Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, all these people really just did one thing. But I've worked directly for Zuckerberg, Dustin Moskovitz, Matt Kohler, these are all billionaires. Sean Parker, been around Peter Thiel a little bit. I think the two biggest kind of surprises, 2 or 3 of them, one, they didn't set out to become a billionaire. They just really cared about a problem. Now, the second part of that, most of them didn't get to become a billionaire or super rich for 20 years. And recognizing that and being like, okay, cool. If I can be patient and focus on longevity, I can become a millionaire, multimillionaire, maybe billionaire or beyond. Things that's common, especially for employees, is thinking that they can't escape being an employee. You know, it does take time, patience, and belief, dream, fantasy. And through that you can create the reality. I've done a lot of things, man. I've been swinging for a long time, and that's something that's available to everyone. And I do think that's missed out on, that there's a lot of ordinary people being rich and being successful, and people think it's an exclusive club, and that's just not true. I tried 24 different businesses to finally get to AppSumo, to finally eventually get rich. Think about in your own life and your own businesses, like what is the thing you're looking forward to and excited about? And it could even be small. Like one of my phrases I like is put it on the calendar. What's on the calendar? What are you looking forward to? Well, what you're excited about. And then the reality is that you can actually get going towards that dream sooner than you realize. Everyone should be an entrepreneur, everyone, because if you get fired today, what's your backup plan? Go on Indeed.com and pray. Like having an entrepreneurship where you can have your own business, and if you start it right now, not how, you just get started. And that a lot of what we cover that is exactly $1 million weekend. You could do it in a weekend, which everyone has. They can change their life in 48 hours. You have the option. And a lot of people, let's take AppSumo.com. We have a lot of people who have very successful side businesses, and they're happy with their day jobs, and that's great. But I think people don't swing enough. They don't even get started swinging, and that's, you know, they're not ready on the sidelines. And there's never a good time. The best time is right now. It's not yesterday because that passed. It's not tomorrow because you don't know. It's right now. There's 3,100 billionaires on the planet, which is not that many. So if you want to meet one and learn from one, that's a really great cheat code of life, and they're accessible. And so taking a step back around interviewing billionaires on our YouTube channel, and then myself running almost $100 million a year business at AppSumo.com, it's the power of asking is the most powerful thing that no one is really improving on or really getting started on. And that's available. There's no exclusivity on it. The upside of asking is unlimited, and the downside is a moment of discomfort. The second thing with this YouTube channel from interviewing billionaires and millionaires is that there's so many different ways of getting rich. I thought that everyone else you can only get rich on the computer and on these worldwide webs. I didn't know how to do it, but I thought that was the only way. And so through the YouTube channel, it's been so powerful and so special. There's Larry Janeski. He's making $600 million a year on basements. You have this lady, Jan, which I guess it's kind of funny. Her name is Jan. She does jam. She got rich selling strawberries. There's Michael Hudner, who did ships. There's Rafa and James, who did energy trading. Right? There's such a phenomenal variety of people that are getting rich outside of just computers. And I think that's so exciting to think about, hey, what is the area that I really like? Is it cooking? Is it doing landscaping? Is it computers? And the ability in that to create a lifestyle and a lot of money around areas that we're interested in. You hear all these, like, I'd say fake entrepreneurs or fake coaches. They don't actually have any real businesses. They're like, you got to 10x today, and you got to 5x. If you're not 5xing, you're failing. And I was like, I've done that, but it's also interesting. What if our goals now for AppSumo.com is to grow 10% next year, and it's been that for quite a lot of time. And the reality is when you set less ambitious goals for yourself, you can stick with them for longer because you're not burnt out, you're not tired, you can sustain. And then by having less ambitious goals, you also have creative freedom because you're not stressed about hitting a target. And that gives you the ability to create 10x opportunities because you're like, okay, cool, I'm not worried about making money in that, but I can go do things that potentially, be moonshots and really drive the company for the future. There's a lot more smarter people out there than they give themselves credit for. The only difference is that I start. That's the biggest difference. But I would say the success of a founder and success if you want to be an employee CEO within a company is how are you being resourceful? How are you solving the goal and the problems and the priorities with the resources that are available? Most people sit and they complain like, oh, I don't have this. Like there's a lot of people, I'm not getting paid enough. Well, what are you doing about it? Did you put together a proposal? Did you go look at comparison analysis? Did you go create more revenue so it's obvious that people should pay you more? When you're going somewhere in a car, you're like, of course I want a destination. Then why don't we replicate that in business? If you look at all the best CEOs today, the ones that I admire, almost all of them are immigrants. My father's an immigrant, didn't speak English, came to this country. Satya, Microsoft, name these companies. Just most of them. The guy running Google, Sundar, a lot of the ones. Even Elon Musk, who is debatably a great CEO, South Africa. And so what is it with them that we can all learn from? And at AppSumo.com, we have Eamon from Iran, my father's from Israel, Alona's from Uzbekistan, Sean is from London, Vanessa's from Colombia. What is it about immigrants that we can all copy? Because that is what built America was. We all came here from somewhere else. And so the two things that have really struck with me, and I saw this woman who exemplified it. Her name was Sharon. And she kicked so much, and she was working basically at the Best Western, serving breakfast. And if you've never been to a Best Western, it should be called the OK Western, right? It sucks. It sucks. But she was working like she was at, the Four Seasons. I could not believe it. She's like bringing me pancakes. She's doing all these things. And she was acting like a founder and an immigrant. I would say she is an immigrant. And I asked her, I said, tell me more. What's really going on? She's like, there's two things. It's my attitude and it's my effort. Because that's in control, that you're totally in control of your attitude. And that's what I look for when I work with people and we hire people at AppSumo.com. And her effort. There's literally no restriction on effort. There's no law. The only law is 24 hours. Besides that, you can work as hard as you want. A lot of my success is just because I'm in the market and the market does well. But I'm curious about these things, number one. So I was curious about social networking and I was like, man, money, I think worldwide it's pretty important. I think there's going to be something, if you have a free money tool, that's going to be big. Same thing then with Facebook games, that was going to be big. Then I did payments for games, that was big. And then I did kind of a Groupon business, which became AppSumo, that was big. Then we built SumoMe.com, that was big, which is software tools. So ideally, number one, you're curious. Number two, how do you get a part of it today, right now, not how? Don't worry that you don't have a website, don't worry you don't have a big social media presence, but what can you take action on to put yourself in that space? So can you be in a community online? Can you geographically move? Can you start creating in that space? So I think people are curious maybe and they can find it, but they don't necessarily try it and understand it and they don't do anything about it. And I think the biggest thing for everyone out there is, what are you doing on your phone all day? There's probably something within there that's $1 billion opportunity. Same thing on what you're doing outside, same thing what you're watching on content, and just being a little bit more curious and then taking action around that. I think money is very sensitive and I think we're taught a lot about how to create it. But definitely there's much more there as well, how to enjoy it and different things that people enjoy. A lot of the interesting thing about success is that it's always externalized, right? It's like that person is an icon, that thing is successful, they're doing well. And I really think it's like, when do we finally feel like we're doing what we think our potential is? And that is our own icon, our own legendary status. And I would say around 40 is when I finally felt more internal validation and I stopped focusing on so much of the external validation. Like, how much money do I have? Do I have more than that guy or girl? Did I do the things externally wanting versus like, am I doing really what I want? And am I proud of the hard work that I'm doing for myself? And around 40, I would say I'm really proud of what I've been able to do.
How is it that some people can become so incredibly wealthy while the majority of people don't? It's not that they have some special superpower. It's not that they own some special skill. It's not that they're so much smarter than people. It's not that they work so much harder. It's that they believe that they can, and then they use their time differently. If you go about life and you say, the government's the reason why I'm broke, my greedy corporation is the reason why I'm stuck at a job that I hate, I can't change my life because of X, Y, and Z. You keep pointing your fingers as to why you can't succeed. Well, it's going to be impossible for you to succeed. The best return that I got on my investment isn't the real estate investments. It's not the stock market investments that I made. It's not the startup investments that I made. It's the investments that I made in myself. Number one, hustle. Number two, try to spend as little money as possible until you make money. Entrepreneurship is hard. You got to work a lot. And in the early days, I was working around the clock, 7 days a week, never took a vacation, never spent money. You got to be willing to work and understanding that it takes time. I say a decade of sacrifice. If you really want to see success in business, there's a lot of people on the internet selling this crap that you can do it in 6 months. Yeah, you can do it in 6 months if you put in the decade of learning how it works. But you can't bypass that effort of learning, that effort of going through the mistakes, that effort of everything. Yeah, education can shorten that time, but you can't bypass all that effort. Building a business takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of work. Investments that I put into my own financial education have paid off many times over, and you can't see those returns anywhere else. They say that the best investment you can make is in you. I would recommend that you go out and start by reading 25 books. Find the top 25 books in financial education and read them. Find the top 5 books in money management and investing, the top 5 books in starting a business, the top 5 books in scaling a business, the top 5 books in managing a business, and the top 5 books of entrepreneur biographies. And it doesn't matter which ones you pick, find the ones with the highest ratings, the highest reviews, and just read them. This is going to cost you less than $500. But when you do that, you're going to be able to get an MBA level education without paying the price of an MBA. And you're going to look at the world, your money, and the way you use your money completely differently once you finish these books. If you go around saying, I can't have that nice thing because I'm broke, I can't have the nice thing because I grew up in a bad environment, I can never become successful because of the way I look, I can never do it because of whatever, I can guarantee you are never going to become successful. But if we turn this around and you say, how can I become successful? How can I make more money? How can I become wealthy? How can I get out of the situation that I'm in? Now your brain looks at problems completely differently, because of now you're not complaining about the problem, but you're trying to find a solution to the problem. And that's the biggest difference between somebody who becomes wealthy and somebody who does not. It starts with the mindset, because then once you change the mindset, you're going to start changing your actions. Now you're going to find out, oh, I don't need to spend money at Gucci. Oh, I don't need to go out and eat every single day. Oh, I can save money here. Oh, I can ask for a raise at my job. Oh, maybe I can start a side hustle. Oh, maybe I can start my own business. Oh, you mean I could actually potentially take my income from $40,000 a year to $400,000 a year? That's possible? Because when most people hear that, you think it's impossible. Somebody like me could never go from $40,000 to $400,000 a year. But until you believe it's possible, you're never going to put in the action to actually make it possible. We're all given 24 hours in a day. So the difference between somebody who becomes successful versus somebody who does not is now what input you put in those 24 hours. If you're spending your time on Netflix, if you're spending your time playing video games, if you're spending all of your time doing things that don't add any value financially to your life, well, if you compare that to somebody who's now working, who's now learning, who's investing in the education, you're going to see 2 completely different outputs. Now, this is where you don't want to get into the trap of just thinking, you know what, I'm just going to work really hard. I'm going to work 20 hours a day. Because, well, you can work really hard and still be broke. Now the question is, how can you make your hard work the most scalable? Because that's now what will take you from, okay, I don't want to be broke. So now you start working hard, which is great. I 100% recommend working hard, because without that hard work, it's going to be impossible for you to see any real level of success. But now you're working hard. The next question is, how can you make your hard work the most rewarding? What can you do to make that hard work give you the biggest dividends and the highest returns? And this is where people say work smart. Some people say work smart, don't work hard. I think that's a bunch of crap. I think you need to work smart and work hard. They go hand in hand, because that hard work is going to allow you to scale your smart work. But you now have to understand, okay, I want to become more financially successful. So now, how do I do that? What is the financial education? What am I working for? When I make more money, what am I going to do with this money? Where am I going to invest it? How am I earning this money? What can I do in terms of taxes to protect my wealth? What can I do with my investments to scale them? What can I do to build an asset? What can I do to build a business? What can I do to scale the assets that I do own? So now you start asking these questions. And I know this is getting very deep in some of these topics, but it all starts with that mindset of believing that it's possible for you. Because if you don't believe it's possible for you, you're right. But if you believe it's possible for you, you're also right. And whatever your belief is going to change what output you take. You got to work hard, man. I don't recommend what I do to anybody. But when I started, I had people I needed to prove wrong. I had the whole world telling me that I could never be an entrepreneur. I had everybody telling me that I was dumb for trying to leave the comfort of trying to be a doctor. I had the whole world telling me that I was throwing every sacrifice my parents made for me away. So I had to work because I knew I didn't want to let that be reality. And I worked 20-hour days, 7 days a week. That meant I was sleeping 4 hours a night, consistently. I mean, it's a grind, a real grind you have to go through. And, everyone's different. I can't do that same 4 hours of sleep in a night now. I need more sleep. I need more rest. That's why I don't tell people what to do, but you got to be willing to put in the work that nobody else does. Because if you're not willing to do that, you're going to be outworked and you're going to get beat. And business, it's a war, man. Everyone's out there trying to beat you. And if you're not willing to put in the work, then someone else is going to come in and they're going to beat you.
It is hard. It's hard when you're young to wake up in the off season at 6 a.m. to go train and work out, knowing that all your friends are sleeping in and eating pancakes.
No one's good at everything. I mean, that's just not the way life works. We're all talented at certain things, but we can really continue to improve our weaknesses if we're humble enough to identify them, and we can build on our strengths. And I think we're all trying to find a more well-rounded aspect to ourselves, but a lot of that has to come with this understanding about yourself that what you know is very limited and what you don't know is limitless.
It's hard to throw, catch, block, and tackle and hit kids when they're way bigger and way more developed than you, only to go home that night bruised and battered and strained, but knowing you have to show up again the next day for just the chance to try again. But understand this, life is hard.
I think most people probably know a few things about me, but I was never, I would say, like a prodigy. I wasn't like the kid where you see Tiger Woods swinging on the Johnny Carson show at 2 or 3 years old, and his swing looks as good as it did at 3 years old as it did, as he grew older. Or certain players that had this unbelievable prodigy aspect to themselves. I saw myself as someone who probably had some other traits that maybe were hard to identify, but that were really sustainable over time, which was, I would say, work ethic and discipline. Consistent discipline has been one of those prodigy-like strengths that I had. So I didn't have the arm that could throw the ball 80 yards. I didn't have the 3 speed that Michael Vick had. I didn't have the size that a lot of guys had, but I did have something inside of me that no one could see from the outside, this level of discipline that I could accomplish something that was really important and really special. Man, it's great to run the first probably 4 miles of the marathon, and it's really fun to cross the finish line, but man, those middle miles probably really stuck. And if you want to be good at those middle miles, you got to work really hard in the whole off season to prepare yourself for a real big challenge, which is the NFL season. And you don't think everyone's watching? Yeah. The whole competition's watching. A lot of people can be really consistent, let's say with your diet, because it's always on people's mind. Like, I want to get healthy. Well, most people could say, man, I want to eat healthy for 1 day, or I want to exercise for 1 day, or I want to be more hydrated for 1 day. Well, can you do it for a week? Well, that's more discipline, right? Can you do it for a month? That's more discipline. Can you do it for a year? That's even more discipline. So I was so blessed to have this discipline over a really long period of time. I didn't know how to put the pads on in my pants when I tried out for freshman football. I mean, I had never played until that point except in the street. So I went on the field and I was like, I'm gonna get killed out here. You know, and my freshman year, I didn't even play. I was the backup quarterback on a team that went 0-8. That says a lot. I couldn't get on the field and we never won a game anyway. Going into my second year in high school, there were workouts in the morning at 6 a.m. before school. And I was like, okay, I can get up at 6 a.m. and I can go do these rope drills where you'd run through the ropes. You see a lot of people do that. There were these hills that we would run up. And there was probably less than 10 people there, but I was probably one of the 3 that were there almost every single day to try to continue to push myself to grow in these maybe physical areas that I was really behind a lot of the other people at. Because naturally, no one's good at everything. I mean, that's just not the way life works. I really started working hard with Tom Martinez to throw the ball better. My 3rd year, I won the starting job in my high school. And I loved the sport so much that I stopped playing basketball and I just played baseball and football. But in the summers, I would go, and my dad, who was very available to me, with the greatest mentor, the greatest dad I could ever imagine, was so right there by my side to say, hey, Dad, I want to be a better football player. Great, let's take you to the University of Arizona camp. Let's take you to the Cal Berkeley camp. Let's take you to the Stanford camp. You know, this is when you just sign up and there's 1,000 other kids and you're just in a group, and you know, that's just the way it was. But my dad was there to say, go for it, son. And if there was a blessing in my life that I would say, you know, some of the things I blessed with: hard work, discipline. You know what I was also blessed with? Being very naive. I had no idea how hard it was. But I believed, because I was like, no, like I'm gonna get better, and I'm gonna be better. I got offered a scholarship to UCLA, and then they turned me away at the last minute because another kid signed before me. And I really wanted to go to USC. That was probably my first choice, but they didn't want me either. They signed another kid who was one of the top recruits on the West Coast. So I get to the airport in Detroit and I call my dad, Collect, and I go, Dad, I think I know where I want to go to college. And like, he started breaking down and he's like, what? You know, leaving to go all the way back to Michigan. And he said, are you sure you want to go? And I said, Dad, if I want to be the best, I got to beat the best. And this is where the best are. So I showed up on campus as a freshman in the fall of 1995. I was the 7th quarterback on the depth chart. There were 6 other guys ahead of me. And Michigan is a great college. There's, you know, it competes for national championships. And I wanted to be a great football player. If I was going to be a great football player, I wanted to compete against these other guys. And they were all better than me. I ended up becoming the 3rd quarterback in my 2nd year. And it rotated a little bit there my 2nd year, but I went from 3rd in my 2nd year to now my 3rd year, I was competing to be a starter. I had learned these tools to compete, and I said, whatever they asked me to do, that's what I'm gonna do, to the best of my ability. And I went in there, I competed really hard my 3rd year, and I lost the starting job to Brian Greasy. Going into my 4th year, I got a great opportunity to play. And they recruited a kid named Drew Henson, who was one of the top prospects in the country. And I was like, the competition's relentless. At first I was looking at the guys ahead of me. Now I gotta be looking down at the guys behind me too. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna apply the same thing that I had learned in those previous years. I'm gonna go out there and compete as hard as I can. And I'm gonna treat practice like a game. And I'm gonna gain the respect of my teammates every day through my work ethic. I'm gonna work hard in the weight room. I'm gonna work hard in the film room. I'm gonna work hard to be a good student. And going into my 4th year, it was a little bit of a battle. And my teammates named me team captain. And I won the starting job. Sometimes it should go the other people's way. It shouldn't always go your way. So you get motivated by the losses. You stay motivated through the winning. What you can control is your process. You can control those intangibles. You can control the work ethic, the consistent discipline, your attitude, your culture, how much you care. All those things are in you. They just need to be drawn out of you. And really, when you're in that position that you feel like got those pretty well under control, then you start passing those on to the other people that you're working with, that are parts of your team. You know, focus on what you can control. Focus on what you're getting, not what anyone else is getting. Whenever you get an opportunity, you take advantage of it. You treat it like it's the Super Bowl. You treat it like it's game day. Go out there and treat practice like no one else does. And I did that every single day. I'm trying to give you answers to the test. You know, this is a lot of athletes want to maximize their potential, maximize their opportunity. You guys want to maximize the potential and opportunity you have in your business. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of consistent discipline. It doesn't mean that you can have one good month. It means that you got to do a lot more right than wrong. It means you got to make a lot more good choices than bad choices. It means you have to be more disciplined than not disciplined. It means you have to surround your people with very smart people, not people that are gonna help you think less. You gotta challenge yourself, not challenge yourself less. So we're all faced with those decisions every day, and you get the opportunity, just like I had the opportunity, to choose. What do you want? What are your goals? What are your priorities? What do you guys want to achieve? You guys are sitting here as entrepreneurs, CEOs, leaders, running business, running families. What's the choice you get to make every day to wake up and say, all right, this is where I'm going to focus my time and energy? How disciplined are you to maintain that routine over a period of time? And I think that will determine your level of success.
Leave them. Leave them. Let it go. Let her go. Let him go. They don't deserve that much power over your life. Let them go. I know they hurt you. Let it go. They only still have power because you're still holding on to it. Stop being average.
Take this forever. Please take this and run with this. If somebody did you dirt, somebody harmed you, somebody did you some type of way, do me a huge favor. If it's as deep as you say it is, cut them. But whatever you do, don't hold on to them and then hold on to the air. I can actually see people who are eating success up, and it's a poison. If it's abuse, then cut it. But whatever you do, don't forgive somebody. Don't stay with somebody. Don't live with somebody. Keep putting that dirt in their face every single day. Don't do it. Let it go.
When you leave this room, you will take full ownership. And the reason why I say it's my fault, even when it's not my fault, because when I say it's your fault, I give you power. I give you control over my life. And I will never give another human control over my life. It's my fault. It's my problem. I'm coming up with a solution for it. But you know, your problem is not your enemy. Your problem is the people you love. You are not where you're supposed to be because you're still entertaining people you love about where we're supposed to be. You still babysitting the footman when you on the horse. And you stopping on every occasion to go back to those who you love, who ain't caught up, because you trying to go back and get them. He said, leave them. Leave them. That ain't your job. I know you love them. I know where your heart is. But I also know I'm the one that's responsible for where you are. They're not responsible for your mission. I call you to do this. I need you to do what I told you to do. Are you not hearing what I'm saying? I'm on the phone with billionaires, but I'm also on the phone with folk who broke, and I'm spending more time with the broke folk when the billionaires like, come, we trying to get you so you can do what God told. I'm talking about Christian billionaires who are saying, where are you? Why aren't you in this city? I can't get there because I'm in this city trying to convince this person we need to get over here. And God has said, just go. I will get them there if they're supposed to get there. They ain't supposed to get there. I don't need you to get them there. Amen. So I'm just saying in the room today, some of you should, like me, you should be ashamed of yourself. You are not where you should be. You should be ashamed of yourself. Now, if you compare yourself to your siblings, you probably got it going on. If you compare yourself to the people in your environment, you probably got it going on. But the measurement is not the people in your church. The measurement is not your cousin. The measurement is not your parents.
And why am I transparent? Because I'm not a slave to you. I'm not a slave to your image of me. I'm hurt. I'm struggling. I'm human. I didn't have the best situation my whole life. Like this is really what happened. I don't gotta fake what happened. This is really what happened. And you rock with me because you like, yo, he really is. So we're gonna focus on one thing that we've already gone through, that we can help other people out, and we're gonna give it all our energy. Y'all see where I'm going? Come on. A lot of y'all, I need to make more money, so I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna go over here, and I need this person to love me, so I'm gonna be this, and I'm gonna be that. And I want this to happen, so I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. Stay focused, stay right. I wanna make a lot of money, so I'm gonna stay right here. I wanna make a lot of money, so I'm gonna stay right here in my gift. I want my spouse to love me, so I'm gonna be predictable. I'm gonna stay right here. Come on, y'all.
I'm taking ownership. Come on, I'm taking ownership. Listen to me closely. I'm not saying it's your fault, but it's your solution. I'm not saying you didn't do it, but you owe it to yourself in this country to let that stuff go so you can be what you're supposed to be. Now, I'm gonna count to 3, because there's somebody else, you got a lot of pride. And that's why you're where you are right now. Let your ego go. You're amongst family. Let your ego go. You're amongst family. Let it go. You need to stand because you're still holding somebody else hostage for what they did to you. And I need you to let it go. Average people can't forgive. Average people can't let go. The greats, we do whatever it takes for self-preservation. We do whatever it takes to be happy. You think I wanted to let my biological father off the hook? You think I want to let him off the hook? He left my mom. He left me. You think I want to let my man off the hook? I was with my family my whole life. I thought he was a friend of my family. I didn't know he was my father. I know my grandma. I know my aunts. I know my cousin. I just thought he was a friend of the family. And I asked him why. He said, your mother said. I said, my mother said. How dare? No, you're right. My mother said. That wasn't the answer I was looking for. But if that's the answer you have, I'll take it, and I'll take the rest of my life, and I'll be happy the rest of my life. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, I want you to say with me, I can, I will, I must. Come on, I can. This is your life, not mine. You should be more excited about your life than I am. I can. I can. I will. I must. Get past this. It's our time. It's our turn. It's our country. Let's eat it up. Let's enjoy it. I can. I can. I can. I will. I will. I will. I will my way through every situation, every trial, every tribulation. I will my way through it. I don't care if it's cancer. I will my way through it. I don't care if it's MS. I will my way through it. I don't care if I'm struggling in school and I'm trying to get a degree. I will my way through it. I don't care if you fail the boards. Go again. I don't care if you fail the law exam. Go again. Will your way through it. Some things you can skill yourself through. Some stuff you gotta will your way through. There are some things that you're naturally gifted at. Others you gotta will your way through. I will my way through homelessness. I will my way through that GED. I will my way through that PhD. I will myself to 30 years plus of marriage. I will my way through to be a better father. I will my way through those books. I will. Come on, I will. I must. So I need you to do me a huge favor. I just need you to be real. And the reason why a lot of y'all don't want to be real, because some of you would rather be in a lie and at least have a lie than not have anything at all. You already know the reality about that relationship. You already know that job, your boss ain't about to cash you out. You're just scared to quit and start your own business because you don't know if you're going to do well or not. You know you shouldn't. Come on, be honest. You know you still shouldn't be at that job right now. Let me see your hand. Let's just be real. Let me see the hand. You know you shouldn't still. Raise it high. Don't play with me. Raise it high. You still shouldn't be at that job. But you're delusional that one day is going to be your day. That one day you're going to merge your job and your calling together. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to just leave.
And then the question is, well, should you turn into a monster? And the answer to that is yes, you should. But you should do it voluntarily and not accidentally, and you should do it with the good in mind rather than falling prey to it by possession, essentially. Nietzsche said, if you look into an abyss for too long, you risk having the abyss gaze back into you, right? The idea is that if you look at something monstrous, you have a tendency to turn into a monster. And people are often very afraid of looking at monstrous things exactly for that reason.
When you looked in the mirror and looked at yourself, you might run away screaming, because you'd have a revelation of just exactly what the human being is capable of. And that's a very unpleasant revelation, and also one of the things that stops people from being enlightened, because that revelation of the evil of the self is part of the journey to enlightenment, and an early part. But a good person isn't harmless. A good person is capable of anything, but is willing to hold that in abeyance.
If you're harmless, you're not virtuous. you're just harmless. You're like a rabbit. A rabbit isn't virtuous. You just can't do anything except get eaten. It's not virtuous. If you're a monster and you don't act monstrously, then you're virtuous. But you also have to be a monster. You know, part of Jung's contention was, well, you had to understand yourself as a monster if you were ever going to maintain some control over the fact that you are in fact a monster, and that could come forth if the situation is correct. Nietzsche commented on that a fair bit. He thought of most morality as cowardice, not because morality itself was cowardice, but because most people who are cowards disguise their cowardice as morality, and they claim that their harmlessness, which is actually a consequence of their fear and inability to be harmful, say, or to be dangerous, is actually a sign of their moral integrity. And that's a really bad idea. If you're an axe murderer but you don't have an axe, that doesn't mean that you're moral. So that's the persona. And the persona is the mask that you wear, and that's what persona means, is the mask that you wear to convince yourself and the world that you're not a terrible monster, so that when you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't have to run away screaming. I can stumble up towards the light, you know, insofar as I've been able to master my darkest self and to contemplate what that might be and to decide that that isn't where I'm going, no matter what. It's like, well, I don't want to be a monster. Okay, well, how much of a monster are you? Well, you need to contemplate your own malevolence, because that helps you understand who you are and who you could be. And you could be something absolutely brutal and terrible. So you need to contemplate your own malevolence so that you understand who you are. And that means you have to contemplate malevolence as such, because you're not only who you are, you're who you could be, for better or worse. And I actually think it's a lot easier to start to understand who you could be if you were better, if you deeply understand who you could be if you were worse, and who you might be to the degree that you're blind to that worse presently. So you think, oh my God, I could be that malevolent, a force for ill. That's horrible, but highly compelling and plausible given my understanding of my own character. I'm way deeper on the negative end than I thought, much more closely aligned with the forces of hell than I presumed. That's easy to swallow factually, right? You think, yeah, there's evidence for that. It's not so easy to swallow emotionally. It's a bitter pill, to say the least. And so I don't think that you can contemplate the good without contemplating the evil first. I don't think it has the depth. You know, they say that fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. It's something like that necessary fear. It's like, well, I don't want to be a monster. Okay, well, how much of a monster are you? I'm as monstrous as I have been, so that's on me, conscience-wise, but like, I'm also the same being that's been as monstrous as any being throughout history. Nothing human is foreign to me. Lots of my clients, my clinical clients, are too agreeable. And they're generally women, because women are more agreeable than men, but not always, because I've had agreeable men as clients as well. And what happens is they're resentful and they don't know how to stand up for themselves, and it's because they're very compassionate by nature. And so if you're entering into a negotiation with them, they'll let you win. Well, that's not so good, because you know you need to win too. Especially if you're in an organization of adults where there's a struggle, right? When you have kids, you can let them win, especially infants. You have to let them win, and that's partly why compassion is so necessary. But as a basis for negotiation between adults, it's like, sorry, it's insufficient. You have to be a bit of a monster so that you can say no. Well, let's toughen you up. You know, let's put you in a position where you can bargain. Let's teach you how to assert yourself and stand up for yourself, and that's assertiveness training, and it's a huge chunk of psychotherapy. And you need to learn it. It's like, because part of how you regulate your interactions with other people is to negotiate. And you cannot negotiate unless you can say no. You can't do it. And it causes conflict to say no, and if you don't like conflict, which is basically the definition of being agreeable, then you can't tolerate the conflict, and so then you can't negotiate on your own behalf, and so then you keep losing, and you're bullied, and you know, it's not good. Then you get resentful, and it's really not good. So you have to develop your inner monster a little bit, and then that makes you a better person, not a worse person. It's weird, but that's just how it is. If you've been victimized, you're naive and you've been victimized. The way out of that is to no longer be naive and to no longer be victimized. And that means that you see this reflected in the Harry Potter idea, for example, that the reason that Harry Potter can withstand Voldemort is because he's got a piece of him, right? He's been touched by it. And the way that you keep the psychopaths at bay is to develop the inner psychopath so that you know one when you see one. Right, and then, but that's a voluntary thing. It's like a set of tools that you have at your disposal, which is full knowledge of evil.
And there's this old idea that if you look into the darkness enough, you'll find something that compensates for it, right? And that emerges out of the darkness that's greater and more powerful than the darkness. And that part of the looking into the dark side of yourself is you find the power that enables you to deal with mortality. If they've been coddled and their ambition has been squelched and everything about them that's aggressive has been shamed out of existence, that's part of that attraction of that dark fantasy, right? And then they see that aggression manifesting itself and in a creative form. It's not surprising that they're going to try to imitate that. It's part of that desire to bring that shadow out of the shadows and into the light. There's two pathways to the development of the shadow, and they're tightly allied with one another. The fundamental pathway is truth, and that's to face the bitter truth about yourself. But to break that down more particularly, you might think about that as the capacity to observe your own resentment. You're going to be resentful and bitter in many situations because you don't get what you want. And if you watch that resentment and bitterness, you'll see that it produces fantasies that can be unbelievably dark. And that can be very frightening, and you might not want to admit to yourself that you're actually capable of having fantasies like that, or impulses like that, or aggressive feelings like that. But the thing is that if those aggressive feelings and impulses and fantasies are integrated into your character, it's like you're opening up a dialogue with a part of yourself that can be very forceful and strong and dangerous. And it's really useful to be dangerous, because if you can be dangerous, you often don't have to be. Or you're oppressing yourself, then you got to notice that you're feeling oppressed. Then you have to notice that you're feeling resentful and angry and bitter. And then you have to decide what it is that you need to do in order to remove from yourself that bitterness. And that usually means that there's something that you have to say. And then you have to say it because your soul depends on it. And not only does your soul depend on it, I would say the fate of the world depends on it, because you might be wrong, and then you should be straightened out. Maybe you're just being whiny and you have to talk to somebody about that. But it may be that you're actually detecting something wrong, some tyranny that's directed towards you and other people, and it's like your moral obligation to speak up about it. And so many workplaces become toxic, to use a terrible cliche, because the people in them won't speak up for what they actually want, or they speak up too late and then they're all twisted up about it, and they're torturing other people because they're so unhappy, and so forth and so on. So, practical approach for developing your shadow fundamentally is radical honesty.
To die beneath your potential is a tragedy of mammoth proportion, because you're not just burying the person, you're burying the potential. And a lot of people, black, white, brown, rich, poor, listening at us right now, run the risk of dying the death of being normal or average.
Turn your pain into progress. Turn your pain into progress. I need you to be uncomfortable with average. I need you to be allergic to average.
Don't stop because somebody says you don't belong over there. Don't drop the mic because destiny is in front of you and history is behind you. Why would you live in your history when you can excel in your destiny?
Some of you have sold your greatness and your destiny for a couple dollars. You're not bringing the fire. You're not bringing the passion. You're not bringing the heat.
It is not what they say about you that limits you the most. It's that you might believe them.
I need you to believe in yourself. I need you to see yourself capable, lovable, and unconditionally worthy of your future.
Don't let people describe you, because if they do, they will incarcerate you.
I promise you, you are never going to be dope trying to be somebody else.
Get scared sometime. Get where you're not the boss. Walk into a room where you're not the teacher. Walk into a place where you don't know the rules.
I need you to get out of your comfort zone.
You can't be successful with the companion of comfort.
I have the same DNA, I have the same fingerprint, I have the same voice print, but I don't have the same experiences. So at any particular moment, it's not, can you go with me? It's, can you grow with me?
I want you to read this one. You're already in a space that gives you permission to lead. When you come in this world, you got a child, I don't care what that child, you are already in a position to lead. You a teacher, you already in a position to lead. You a pastor, you a neighbor, you live in a neighborhood, you got permission to lead.
We cannot be the generation that suddenly says, that sounds hard. And we stop being innovative and we stop being creative, because if we do that, we will lose respect for ourselves because we didn't make a difference. Do everything, and do it scared, because you're gonna be scared. Every time you get out of your comfort zone, it is horrifying, but it is also titillating, and it is also inspiring, and it is also nerve-wracking. But you are never more alive than when you're outside of your normal. Your glands secrete different types of hormones when you're outside of your normal. Your brain starts spinning, your blood starts rushing, your adrenaline increases. Most of us are dying of boredom. There are people listening at me right now who drive home and circle the block 2 or 3 times before going in the house. We're dying of routine. And we were made to be adventurous. We don't roar like the lion. We don't move like the jackal. We don't slither like the snake. We don't bite like a viper. Our only weapon that's been given to us is our brain. And we're the only species on Earth that has developed languages and written languages and spoken languages and read languages and built buildings and built ships. And our brain is our weapon. And when your brain gets locked down to living within the confinements of other people's expectations, it starts to wither.
Fear disguises itself as process and practical and rationale. And no, boss up and admit that you are afraid. You are afraid to fulfill destiny. You are afraid to manifest. You are afraid to evolve. You are afraid to give it everything you have because you are afraid that people will reject you. You are afraid to change. You are afraid to move. Boss up and admit that you are afraid. I know this message will reach millions of people, and I'm talking to you. I need you to find a mirror, and I need you to bind up the spirit of fear, and I need you to tell yourself, I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I am not afraid of pursuing my objectives. I am not afraid of focusing. I am not afraid of sacrificing. I am not afraid of giving it everything I have. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what I'll look like. I'll look crazy if I have to fulfill my destiny.
I focus on winning, and when you become a winner, they start seeing you with winners. You get from being a loser, low self-esteem, doubt, and fear. And if you can find your way on this side, guys, it's sweeter on this side. You know what's so funny? We want people to make guarantees to us, but we're not willing to make guarantees to ourselves. Now, for real, I'm gonna say it again. Like somebody gave you a guarantee, 30-day guarantee. In 30 days, if you don't make what they told you was gonna make, in 30 days, you got an attitude, you want your money back. But you've never demanded your money back from yourself. You've never looked at yourself in the mirror and said, you let you down. No, I didn't grow up on that side of the town. No, my mama don't have no network. No, I don't know a whole lot of people. No, I'm not at a country club. No, I don't play golf, and I don't plan on playing no time soon. But I'm still gonna be successful.
There were many, many, many people who said that I would never be anything. I just chose not to be one of them. And as long as it's not your mouth that says it, you can overcome theirs all day long.
I need you to see yourself. See yourself. One of the things that many students lack is vision. You got to see yourself before you get there. You have to hear yourself telling yourself thank you. I need you to open up your ears. Open up your ears.
Because the you from the future is telling you thank you. Thank you for not giving up when you wanted to give up. Thank you for not being depressed. Thank you for not allowing the brokenness to eat your progress. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You got this.
Here's when I became a leader. When I wrote the vision and I made it plain. What you want to do with your life, E? What you want to do with your life, E? Huh? What you want to do? My confidence went to another level when I started to get clarity about my life. When you look at King, when you look at Garvey, when you look at family, when you look at Rosa Parks, what you see is confidence. Confidence, when you lack confidence, it just means you're not taking care of yourself. That's what a lack of confidence is. It means you're not building yourself. It means you're not taking care of what you need. It means you dropping the ball in your own life. Confidence is nothing more than doing what you said you was gonna do when you said you was gonna do it. Confidence don't have nothing to do with other humans. Confidence is how you feel about yourself. And you feel bad about yourself because you're not doing what you said you was gonna do. So it starts with number one, write the vision. What do you want?
I guess I'm kind of saying don't stop doing it. Keep moving into awkward positions, because if you don't do that, your body will freeze to the level of its usage. That's true of the brain too. That's true of your innovation. That's true of your creativity. So when I'm talking about don't drop the mic, get scared sometimes.